Shalom, peace and greetings, brothers and sisters, friends and family all over the world. Thank you for tuning in. This is Messenger of the Name, and today I have an incredible message for you because we are living at the end of the age. We are on the verge of great tribulation like the world has never seen. We have never seen worldwide shutdowns to shut down the economy. We have never seen these draconian measures which are being taken. We have never heard of the concept of mandatory vaccinations, that if you don't get this experimental mRNA vaccine, which there has never been one like, that you can't work, that you won't be able to go and provide for your family, that they're even saying on the news and various outlets that you shouldn't be allowed to go to the grocery store.
No, I'm sure a lot of people are not going to agree with this, but don't get the vaccine, you can't go to the supermarket. Don't have the vaccine, can't go to the ball game. Don't have the vaccine, can't go to work. You don't have the vaccine, can't come here. No shirt, no shoes, no service. That's where I think we should be right now, because we continue to waste our breath on people who are just not going to change. They're, circular logic. They just keep going back and saying, well, it's my freedom, it's whatever.
We've got to shake people at this point and say, come on now. We tried voluntary. We could not have been more kind and compassionate as a country. Free testing everywhere you turn, incentives, friendly, warm embrace. The voluntary phase is over. We can keep doing those things. I'm not saying shut it down. I'm saying voluntary alone doesn't work. It's time for mandates because it's the only way to protect our people.
They're issuing health passes there, right? Where, you can go to a disco, or a discotheque as they like to call it there, if you have a health pass. Is that something that the CDC would ever lean into or perhaps advise here?
I think some communities are doing that, and that may very well be a path forward.
I'm predicting closures in the future because we are not going to be able to rein this variant back in before we get enough spread. It's going to start causing closures again. And so I don't want my kids to have to go through another year of virtual school. I don't want our hospitals to be overwhelmed and for them to be shut down for elective surgeries like we saw last year. Our freedoms are being impinged upon because we have far too many people unvaccinated.
This is a tyranny of the unvaccinated right now. There's no question about it.
Have you ever heard of such a thing? If you read the book of Revelation, you should have. Because you should have known that there was a day coming where they were going to corral the people and divide the people up and figure out how to implement this beast system and how to bring about this mark of the beast situation and how to divide the people in such a way where one class of people can buy and sell and they're going to do very well, and another group of people will not be able to buy and sell, and that group of people will be persecuted and they will be ultimately slaughtered by the wealthy class or by the beast system of the day. And so this is where this is going. This is the beginning phases, and there's no backing away from this. There's no backing down. If you're thinking that this is just one phase and then, before long all this is just going away, no. In Europe, this is not going away, my friends. This is just beginning. You have to have your vaccine passports if you want to go to the local pub. If you want to go to see a movie, you better have your vaccine passports. And they're saying that probably by the fall, you'll probably have to have these vaccine passports to even get groceries. So if you think this is going away, it's not. Now in the United States, this is going kind of slowly. In New York, Governor Cuomo has announced that this is the way that they're going. They have implemented this now. So now, yes, in New York, in the United States of America, you have to have vaccine passports. This is also going on in California. And you're going to notice that these two places are the most corrupt, full of crime, full of disease, all types of sexual perversion and impurities. And look how they are ruled by these mob-type leaders that crack down on them and lock down on their economies and make sure they can't work and break down their financial ability to provide for their family, and now are saying, yes, the vaccines are mandatory and you won't be able to buy or sell, you won't be able to work here or there unless you have these vaccines. Now, is this the mark of the beast? I don't believe we're quite at that stage just yet because we have a few more things, but it might as well be, because people are accepting this who will accept this kind of tyranny anyway. And it's just like I said in the seal of Yahuwah, or the mark of the beast. The actual mark of the beast is spiritual anyway. If you're worshiping Yahuwah and you're submitted to him, and his name is in your mind and in your right hand, and you're keeping his Torah, like the scriptures say, that these commandments will be a sign in your forehead and in your right hand, then you will be awake and aware and prepared, and there's no way you're going to get marked by the beast, because you're worshiping Yahuwah. But if you are not worshiping Yahuwah, calling upon his name and keeping his commandments, then guess what? You're open for the mark, and you will receive it, and you already have it in a spiritual way. So this is the thing that needs to be understood. And for 15 years, I've been trying to warn people on YouTube about this message of the name of Yahuwah and his commandments and his son Yahushua, and they need to turn from their sins, because we are in the end of the age. I have presentations about this, the day of Yahuwah, the apocalypse, Armageddon, many other things about the name of Yahushua. All these are end time subjects, and it's all pointing to a point. Now, I haven't been able to be on YouTube a whole lot lately because I have other things I have to do. I have work, and I'm preparing. You need to be preparing. We all need to be preparing. That is the underlying message, brothers and sisters. Get ready. There is another shutdown coming. It's going to be worse than before. You see how they tighten the noose on you real tight. Then they loosen it up just a little bit. Then they tighten it a little bit tighter. And every time it's what's going to happen incrementally. When they release the noose, when they let up a little bit, and then you can go and do this. You can go see movies. Oh, maybe you can have a cookout for the 4th of July or whatever. It's what they said. It's how they incentivized it. And then next year it'll be a little harder every time. And then before long, when a shutdown comes, you'll say, well, there'll be, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. They'll release it, and we'll have some freedoms before long. But one day it won't happen that way at all. It'll be permanent shutdowns, permanent inoculations. They're already saying that the 2 vaccinations you have to have is not enough. You need booster shots. You have monthly inoculations before it's all over with. And that's how they want it. They want you to nurse off of the government. They want you to be in a perfect nanny state, constantly looking to the government for some more. We need some more stimulus money. We need some more, can you pass out some more money, And every time it's more money, trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars. And you can see the debt, and the debt is evil in the eyes of Yahuwah. Yahuwah has never designed this world so that we should live so far beyond our means, Because if we lived the way that we should, and we lived in righteousness, there's plenty to go around. But because we don't, and because we're using the resources, the wealthy are getting paranoid, and they want to reduce the world's population. They've been talking about it. It's on the Georgia Guidestones that were put up by Ted Turner, literally saying they want to reduce the world's population down to 500,000. So that's the plan. That's the plan with all this. The whole reason that the virus was leaked from the Wuhan lab, which you couldn't even say all last year, but we all knew it since January of 2020. We knew. Everybody with a brain knew. It is literally the Wuhan lab of virology. They literally had a pass of function grant from the United States to do all this. All this was all designed. We all knew it. And if I had said this last year and I made a video about it, my entire channel would have been censored. And you wonder, well, why didn't Messenger of the Name say any of this stuff? Why didn't he come out? Why? Because I know, brothers and sisters, I'm not here to run a sprint. I'm here to run a marathon. I'm not here to just be here for a moment. I'm here for the duration. The Almighty has a plan to make his name known to the 4 corners. And that is what I will do. I and you and others, our brothers and sisters, united in prayer, in fasting, in seeking the face of the Almighty. We may go through some hard times, yes, and it will be dark, and it may be frightening, and it may bring you to the end of yourself, but that could be a great thing, because you may need to come to the end of yourself so that you can come to Yahuwah. Brothers and sisters, we need to press in like never before. Prayer, you need to pray, offer tefillah, prayer, with emotion, with feeling, not just some dry, drab prayer. The more emotion, the more feeling, the more tears that you put into your prayer life, I assure you, the more potent that incense is when it arrives to the nostrils of the Elohim of Israel in his great throne in the heavens and Shemayim. You need to pray like never before. You need to prepare like never before. You need to take this thing seriously. Like I said, don't just prepare spiritually. You need to prepare physically. Noah didn't just prepare spiritually, he was preparing physically. You need to do all preparations. You have children, hold your children, draw them closer to you than never before. Show them that you love them and show them the way and the right path, and teach them now while you still can. Ingrain into them the morality of the scriptures and the morals of the Torah, the morals of Yahushua HaMashiach, the teachings, and get them on the path. Set them on the path so they don't depart from it. Grab your wife, hold her tight, bring her to Yahushua if she's lost. If you can't, do all that you can. Reason with them with love and with consideration. Your family members, have these conversations that need to be had now. Because like I said, what's coming is big. It's very big. We see right now in Israel, all the missiles that are coming in on a regular basis from Palestinians and from Hezbollah and Lebanon and all these different places. You see that Jerusalem is literally going to be that cup of trembling that the book of Zechariah says it would be, a cup of trembling for the whole world, that everybody who puts their hand to it is going to be destroyed. And we see that's happening, that Jerusalem is going to be the final controversy. You can see that in the news today. It's so obvious. How did the scriptures know this for 3,000 years? Because Yahuwah is real. He's alive. He's more real than you and I. We are just figments of his imagination. He brought us forth from his own mind. He is the eternal one. And he has a plan for you, for your family, for your loved ones. But you have to press in. You can't keep being complacent. It looks like everybody's in a hypnotic trance. You would think when you go to the market and to the various stores that people would be talking about this openly. And you hear people, but you don't see it like you thought you would. In the United States of America, our freedoms are being stripped from us, robbed from us. And I guarantee you the next thing they're coming out after is this. Because they're going to say that the scriptures are hate speech because it's not tolerant enough against the LGBTQ people and the pride and all this stuff. Well, you know what scriptures say about pride? Pride comes before destruction. You know what the scriptures say about a man wearing that thing that pertains to a woman, or a woman wearing the garments that pertain to a man? That it is abomination. That doesn't change just because society changes. And now the children are being raised up to be taught that a little boy can be a girl and a girl can be a little boy. In the Olympics, you have grown men that are competing against women, and they're saying that they're females, but they're biologically male. You can't change your DNA. You can't change your chromosomes. You can cut off pieces and manipulate parts and sew on parts and make certain parts bigger and certain parts smaller. And you can take hormone therapy, and women can grow a little bit of peach fuzz, and that's great. But if a man has a beard, if a man's got testosterone, that's seen as toxic in this society. They want to destroy us, and they want to destroy the West, because we are the Israelites. We are Yahuwah's people, and they know who we are. And many of us don't even know who we are. We're lost, confused, in a trance. But I'm here to wake you up. Get up. It's time to wake up, brothers and sisters. You're thinking that, again, a lot of these people are thinking, this is going to just, go away. I talked to people last year in 2020. They're like, well, at least, 2021 won't be as bad as 2020. It's worse. It's going to be worse. It's going to be worse. You see, California's on fire right now. Why? Because of the sin. The sin. It's like Sodom and Gomorrah. With this whole homosexual pride, LGBTQ, all this stuff. You had Obama years ago light up the whole White House in this rainbow flag. Now they're bringing in the racism, bringing in the divisions, bringing in, it's okay to hate this group of people or hate that group of people. And, it's all these things are all prophesied in the scriptures. All of it. All of it. You ask, why is it so much fire in California? Why is there drought? Why is all this happening? Let me tell you why. 2 Chronicles chapter 6, verse 26. When the heavens are shut up and there is no rain, because they have sinned against you, and they shall pray toward this place and confess your name and turn from their sin because you afflict them, then hear in the heavens and forgive the sin of your servants, your people Yisrael, for you teach them the good way in which they should walk. And shall send them rain on your land, and which you have given to your people as an inheritance. When there is scarcity of food, brothers and sisters, there's going to be a famine. A famine of proportions that's going to blow your mind. Again, the United Nations said an estimated 20 million extra people starved to death. Starving to death. That sounds horrible. Could you imagine? Starving to death? Like literally dying because there's no food to eat. 20 million extra people in the third world starved last year because the first world shut down. We stopped importing and exporting. So people starved to death. When there is scarcity of food in the land, when there is pestilence or blight or mildew, locusts or grasshoppers, when their enemies distress them in the land of their cities, any plague or any sickness, whatever prayer, whatever supplication is made by anyone or by all your people, Yisrael, when each one knows his own plague and his own grief and spreads out his hands to this house, then hear from the heavens your dwelling place and forgive and give to everyone according to all his ways, whose heart you know. For you alone know the hearts of all the sons of men, so that they fear you to walk in your ways as long as they live in the land which you gave to their fathers. So Yahuwah uses famine. He uses scarcity of food. He uses drought to get your attention, to bring you back to him. But he's long-suffering. He will allow your sin for a long time. He will allow you to worship idols of stone and silver and gold. He will allow you to engage in your fornication and your adulteries and engage in the pornographies and the sick things that people are involved in today, the LGBTQ perversions and all these things. He's going to allow you for a little while. Allow us to abort all the babies that have been aborted in the United States. You know, it's amazing that on Mars, a bacteria is considered a life form. In the United States of America, a baby is not considered a life form in his own mother's womb. He's considered nothing more than a few cells that have been stringed together. He is just an accident that evolution just happened to make by a mistake. And that is what we're telling our young people. This is the morality. This is the legacy that is being handed to them. And we wonder and we look at them. Why do they have piercings and tattoos in their faces? And why are the girls taking hormone therapy to grow little mustaches and beards? And why are the boys taking estrogen to make them grow breasts and so they can't develop their other parts? This is sexually neutering the children. This is total manipulation and mutilation of these children, but nobody's going to stand for them because we have reached a time that Yahuwah said that we are calling evil good and good evil. A time where our minds are reprobate. We have a hardened heart and our ears are waxed gross and we cannot hear sound doctrine any longer. We can't endure sound doctrine any longer. The United States is not perfect, but people all over the United States once upon a time had some type of honor and respect for this book and for the teachings therein. But now they will burn this book right in front of everybody. They will burn the actual flag of the United States. You could say, well, the United States is pagan, all this stuff, but you still shouldn't desecrate a country. Daniel lived in Babylon. He didn't desecrate the country. He let Yahuwah bring the judgment. So you have to understand all this desecration. They have no respect for adults, no respect for the elderly. They're killing the elderly off in the hospitals. Your grandma goes into the hospital, guess what will happen to them? If they decide, they'll put them on fentanyl, knock them out, stop feeding them, and they'll starve to death. Yeah, that happens all over the United States. It's called palliative care. That's what happened to my own grandmother. That's what happened to your grandmother and your grandfather if you don't watch out. So that's where we're at. You think this is something, you think death panels is something that's going to happen in the future, right? No, it's happening right now in the United States and much more that I can't even talk about. The child trafficking that's going on. Yeah, that's a big thing nobody's talking about. What about the fact that right now through our southern border, it's just open, wide open. And in McAllen, Texas, a little town in McAllen, Texas, the federal government has released 7,000 illegal immigrants into this little town that were all positive for COVID-19.
Here, take a live look at our Fox drone right now. The city of McAllen has had to build an emergency tent compound in the middle of a park here in Mission, Texas, with the specific purpose of housing COVID-19 positive illegal immigrants who have been released from federal custody. They say they have to do this because the federal government has essentially been dumping migrants in downtown McAllen. They can't handle the capacity anymore, neither can the local Catholic charity. Many of them are testing positive. They got to build this to keep them in one place because of the health risk. Take a look at this video we shot on the ground earlier today. today. We were given 1 hour of access to go in there and take a look at it. The current capacity started at 250, but they say they're expanding it all the way up to 650 migrants. Not everybody in there is COVID positive. Some of them are family members who decided to quarantine with their loved ones, but you can see there are hundreds of people in there. And again, the city furious. They put out a scathing statement towards the feds, which reads in part, quote, "The city intends to demand relief from the federal government for the alarming number of immigrants that are being released into the city of McAllen," and quote, "As these immigrants are released, the federal government does not test them for COVID-19. The testing question, they're tested by a third party once they're dropped off in McAllen. And look at this shocking graphic right here. The city of McAllen says just since the month of February, the federal government has released more than 7,000 COVID-19 positive migrants into their city, including 1,500 of which were just in the last week alone. And Tucker, back out here live, what happens with the COVID positive folks in this compound is once they test negative, they're free to go. Their sponsors will show up, their family members will show up. We've seen it happening. They can come pick them up, and then they just take them elsewhere into the United States, wherever they want to go. So far, we've talked to people who are picked.
And this is what's happening because they want to bring in the third world into the United States to destroy us with like a weapon, because we can't fund this operation, first of all. And they know it. So they want to tax us even harder by bringing in, making the population grow larger, and then with people who do not share our morality, our culture, or our heritage, again, to destroy us. And that's what happened in Europe. You don't believe me? Go look at Europe today. You wouldn't recognize it. You wouldn't recognize it. It's overrun by Muslims and Islam. And there are whole no-go zone areas all over the West. And this is what they want to do with the West, to cripple us and ultimately to get this book out of our hands and out of our hearts and to make us turn away from the Elohim of Israel. Maybe you're a Christian and you've never heard these words, Elohim, which means Almighty, or Yahuwah, which is the name of the Almighty, his own personal name, or Yahushua, which is the actual name of the Messiah, whom you heard called Jesus. These are the real names, the real terms. You need to learn these things. You'll say, well, this don't matter. Yes, it matters. It's the name of Yahuwah that is sealed in the forehead of the 144,000 that saves them. It is the endurance in the name. According to the book of Joel chapter 2, it says, all who call upon the name of Yahuwah in the last days will be delivered. So you need to know the name. You need to understand the commandments. Turn away from your sin. It was Yahushua that said that on the day of judgment, many are going to say, but Master, Master, or Lord, Lord, I did all these works in your name. I fed these people in your name. I clothed these people in your name. I even cast out some demons in your name. I did some mighty works in your name. You know what he's going to say? Depart from me. I never knew you. But then he gives you the ticket. He gives you the secret. He says, you who work iniquity. In the Greek and Aramaic and in the Hebrew, that means you who break the Torah, you who break the commandments that were given from the beginning, the commandments that Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob kept, the commandments that were given to the Israelites by the mediator Moses, ultimately given by Yahuwah himself. And you need to repent and turn and keep the commandments and live. That's what Yahushua told the young man. He said, Master, what do I do to enter into everlasting life? He said, keep the commandments and live. Keep the commandments. Profess Yahushua the Messiah. And you need to get on your face. And you need to stay there for a long time. And you need to muster up tears before the Almighty and release your feelings before Him and release these words. And if you don't know what to pray, ask Him how to pray and He will show you. But you need to offer up tefillah, prayers. You need to offer them up like incense to the Almighty at this time. The way that we get incense, they take gum from various trees that are pressed and they light them. Well, human prayers are like incense, pressed, our emotions pressed from this tree, the essence of ourselves released. And then that fire represents the Ruach, offering up this fire through the Ruach HaKodesh, these words, these feelings, these emotions. And you need to, it's vital, because you have to have the spirit of prophecy. You have to have Ruach Nebuah for these last days so that you can navigate. How will you know what's real or fake in a time of such fake news? They can make anybody's voice say anything with various audio manipulators. And with video, they can make, literally, somebody in their kitchen could manipulate a video so that any person, famous or whatever, the President of the United States, could say literally anything, and you would never know the difference. It's very difficult to tell these days. How are you going to navigate in such a time with that, with all these Orwellian lockdowns and shutdowns, with all the lies and with all the cover-ups and the censorship? How will you navigate, my brothers and sisters? You have to have your oil lamp, and you have to have oil in it, because the time is dark. And you need to be able to navigate. That oil is the shemen. That's the word for oil, shemen. The root word shem there means name. The scriptures say in the Proverbs, your name is like oil poured forth. That is why the virgins love you. The name of Yahuwah is the oil for your lamp to navigate through these dark times. Call upon Yahuwah, press in, and seek him out. You may say, but you know, I have no options. I'm pushed up against the wall. I have to compromise. Brothers and sisters, there's always a door that opens when you press in and seek the Almighty. But you have to do your part. You have to push hard with a lot of intensity and a lot of emotion and a lot of energy and really seek him, because we are here at the end of the age. We're here at the time of the end. And we know that window of opportunity of salvation, it is closing. And, you know, I don't want to see those of you who've been listening to me, I don't want to see you miss it. I want you to make it, because this channel, Messenger of the Name, is for the remnant. It's not for the whole world. We're not trying to reach the whole world. We're trying to reach the remnant of Yisrael. We're in the last days of the harvest. We're preparing for Mashiach. There's not a lot of time to prepare for other things. And brothers and sisters, I just want to read this little passage to you really quickly. In Matityahu, Matthew chapter 24, it says in verse 3, and as he sat on the Mount of Olives, the taught ones came to him separately, saying, say to us, when shall this be? And what is the sign of your coming and the end of the age? And Yahushua answered and said to them, take heed that no one leads you astray. Speaking to his own students, how much more is he speaking to you 2,000 years later? And Yahushua answering said to them, take heed that no one leads you astray, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am the Messiah, and they shall lead many astray. But you shall begin to hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you are not troubled, for these have to take place, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation. This word is ethnos in the Greek. Ethnos will rise against ethnos. In other words, ethnicity against ethnicity. We're seeing that in the United States by the politicians and the powers that be trying to amplify a race war, trying to create something out of nothing the most that they can. And they really emphasize when certain groups of the population are persecuted, perhaps by the police, but when other groups die at the hands of police departments, or when racial attacks happen against other groups, they are totally silent. Such as a church not too far from this exact location that was shot up by a certain Muslim from Africa. And CNN announced it all on the news that it was another church shooting, and then they went silent, and that was because of the ethnicity of the shooter. Because now they come out and they say, well, it might be racist to describe some of the people doing these shootings and some of the people doing these crimes. So the ethnicities against ethnicities, that's all prophesied. There should be scarcities of food. That's coming, brothers and sisters. Famine in the land. It is coming. Many deadly diseases. It's coming. Earthquakes in places. And all these are the beginning of birth pains. Now, birth pains, of course, sorrows. When a woman goes into travail, she has contractions that are spread out maybe 10 minutes apart. Then they get a little closer, a little closer, a little closer, till there's one long, solid contraction. Then the baby's born. That's what Yahushua was saying. Yeah, there's always been wars and rumors of wars, famines and pestilence. But when they start happening so frequently, and that's where we're at now. They're happening so frequently. And more things have to happen, but we are at a stage of no return. When they say this is the new normal, they mean it. They intend on making the new normal a reality and the Great Reset. All this is planned. Agenda 2030, the New World Order, it's all planned. This is their plan. And then it says a little further, it says, then they shall deliver you up to affliction and kill you, and you shall be hated by all nations for my name's sake. And then they shall stumble, many shall stumble, and they shall deliver up one another and shall hate one another. So plan on people betraying you. In the last 10 years, I have been betrayed by so many people that claim to be believers. It would just blow your mind, brothers and sisters. Those of you out there probably are surprised to even hear me say that, but it is true. I've literally been backstabbed. There's going to be a Judas Iscariot. You better go ahead and know it. Yahushua gave the prophecy of the wheat and the tares to warn you. So if you think you're going to go off and run off into the countryside with a group of people, just be aware that there are going to be those Judases amongst you. There are going to be those tares amongst you who are going to rob you of your nutrients, drain you of your time and your energy, and ultimately they are going to try to destroy you because they're jealous of what you have, and they see it, and they want the Ruach inside of you, and they try to emulate it, but for whatever reason, there's darkness on the inside, and they cannot come to the truth. And I don't know why, other than demonic oppression. But I fully don't understand it, but I've seen it. I've seen it. I've dealt with it. I won't even say much more. We've all gone through a lot the last several years, and we've all had a lot of things, and I've gone through a lot. And these things that Yahuwah has allowed me to go through are preparing me. And I'm sure that if you've gone through heartaches and losses, I've lost several loved ones within the last few years, a lot of different things. And my sister died, good friend Joseph Israel, brother that a lot of you probably heard his music. He passed away. I was doing some interviews with him for a while, trying to share the name of Yahuwah with him and other things. And a lot of things have happened. My grandmother passed, and I'm telling you that. Why am I telling you that? Not because I want you to feel sorry for me, but because I want you to be able to feel like you can resonate with me, because I know that you've lost someone. I know that you've gone through something, and I know that you're going through things, and I know that there's times where life is hard, and you don't know what to do, and you don't know where to turn. And maybe I can't help you in every situation, but I know the one who can, and he's the eternal one, and he does not sleep, and he does not slumber, and he's there 24/7 waiting for you to reach out and to seek his face. Seek him while he's near, my friends, brothers and sisters. And I also want to remind you just quickly as we end this, and if anything, this is just a message of warning. I had a vision last night that I actually made this video, and I was watching it, in a dream state, and I'm not saying anything very profound, but I knew that it was important, that I had to get this urgent request for brothers and sisters to begin to prepare, to let them know that, this is the time. You have to get ready. I've been telling you, go back and watch those videos, the seal of Yahuwah, the mark of the beast, Armageddon, Apocalypse, the wise and foolish virgins, a lot of other ones. Watch the videos about the name, Hashem revealed. Go back and look at those things. If you're a Christian who believes in the rapture, go watch the rapture theory. I disprove the whole rapture. There's no rapture coming. That's just going to make you fall away. It's going to make you fall away. This is what the scriptures say. It says in the book of Revelation, chapter 9, verse 20, "And the rest of mankind who were not killed by the plagues did not repent of the works of their hands, that they should stop worshiping demons." So people are going to be worshiping demons in the last days. That's the reason the government's now talking about UFOs and aliens. And oh yeah, I'm going to talk about this stuff in the future too, if they don't censor me first. And I've talked about this stuff in the past, even in some of those presentations, but they're going to have this stuff coming out, believe me. "And the idols of gold and silver and of brass and of stone and of wood, which are neither able to see nor talk nor hear nor walk, that did not repent of their murders nor of their drug sorceries," which in the Greek is pharmakia, which is the word we get pharmaceuticals from. And it's very interesting that right now the whole mandate is for an experimental mRNA vaccine, which is just another branch of this pharmaceutical industry and what they are doing. And most people are on pharmaceuticals, antidepressants, whatever it might be for their, heart medicine, liver medicine, blood pressure medicine. People are not healthy. And this is not me trying to bash you if you're one of those people. The Torah promotes health and herbs and essential oils and various healing mechanisms and exercise and things. That's the route you should pursue at all costs if possible. And I'm not here to judge you, but I am here to warn you that the scriptures say that people are going to be destroyed because they will not turn away from their trust in the pharmaceutical industry. Brothers and sisters, you've been duped your whole lives. You've been taught falsehoods and things that were not true from your pastors, from your rabbis, from your spiritual leaders, from your politicians. But now it's time. It's time to take action for yourself. to rise to the occasion, because Yahuwah has a plan for you. He didn't just go through the effort of designing you for nothing. He brought you into this world through your mother's womb for a reason. And it's time for you to acknowledge your destiny and embrace it and become that man of Yahuwah, or that woman of Yahuwah, or that young boy, or that young man, that young woman of Yahuwah that he has called you to be. And you might not escape this thing alive, because the scriptures tell us that many of us will be persecuted to death, literally. So you might not see Yahushua when he comes. But brothers and sisters, if you endure in this everlasting good news, the good news of the Malkut, the kingdom of Yahuwah, then when the Messiah comes, you will hear him. Even if they've scattered your body parts to the four corners of the earth, they will reassemble. In closing, I would like to place the name of Yahuwah upon you in the Aharonic Barakah, the Aaronic blessing, found in Numbers chapter 6, for your own protection and the protection of your loved ones. Yibarekaka, Yahuwah wa Yishmareka, Ya'er Yahuwah Panawileka, Wihuneka, Yisa Yahuwah Panawileka, Wiasim Leka Shalom. Yahuwah be with you.